On Monday, the Super Falcons of Nigeria have landed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, following their triumphant return from Morocco, where they clinched their 10th Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON title. The team touched down at about 2:26 p.m. aboard a chartered flight and were met by jubilant fans and top government officials, including the Minister of Information Mohammed Idris, Minister of Culture and Tourism Hannatu Musawa, and Minister for Women Affairs Iman Sulaima Ibrahim. Before their arrival, the management and staff of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, in collaboration with security agencies, has put in place a safe and secure measure for a warm reception for the historic team. The entire vicinity of the airport was secured, while fans and other Nigerians were orderly as well as chanted solidarity songs. They were welcomed with excitement and cheers from fans and top government officials who had gathered at the airport for hours to receive the continental champions. Still on Monday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has announced a cash reward of $100,000 to each Super Falcons player who represented Nigeria at the just concluded 2025 WAFCON tournament in Morocco. Each of the coaching crews will also pocket $50,000 for their efforts. Aside the confinement of national honors of Officer of the Order of the Niger (OON) on the players and their officials, the president also announced the allocations of 3-bedroom apartments to each of the players and their coaching crews at the renewed Hope Housing Estate, while treating the team and their coaching crew to a presidential reception at the Aso Rock Villa. President Tinubu said the victory of the team is a triumph of courage, determination, discipline, and consistency, and they have indeed inspired millions of Nigerians, and particularly political leaders, on the power of dreams. Also on Monday, the Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri on Monday in Yola confirmed that the death toll of the Sunday flooding has risen to 23, with many others still missing. Fintiri, who arrived at the Yola International Airport at 1:45 p.m. on Monday, went straight to the affected communities in Yola South local government and offered condolences to victims. At a temporary displacement camp at Yelewa Primary School, the governor met with displaced families, expressed his grief, and reassured them of the government's commitment to providing relief materials to reduce their hardship. He announced that the state government would immediately set up a technical committee in collaboration with the Adamawa State Emergency Management Agency and the National Emergency Management Agency to assess the full scale of the damage caused by the flood. On Tuesday, the Nigerian Senate, through its Committee on Public Accounts chaired by Senator Aliyu Wadada Aliyu, has given the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) a 3-week deadline to respond to queries regarding an alleged 210 trillion naira unaccounted for amounts arising from audit reports between 2017 and 2023. The amount consists of roughly 103 trillion naira in liabilities, accrued expenses, and 107 trillion naira in assets, receivables, all needing detailed explanation and accountability. The committee clarified that the 210 trillion naira is not missing or stolen but remains unaccounted for, explaining the need for the NNPCL to clarify the discrepancies in their financial statements, which have raised serious governance and transparency concerns. Still on Tuesday, the 2025 local government elections in Rivers State have been officially postponed. It was originally scheduled for August 9th. Voters will now head to the polls on Saturday, August 30, 2025. RSEC Chairman Michael Ode announced the new date today during a crucial stakeholders meeting at the Commission's headquarters in Port Harcourt. The Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission Chairman Michael Ode stated that the postponement was necessitated by the recent state of emergency declared in Rivers State. Also on Tuesday, the United Kingdom government on Tuesday condemned the killing of 33 kidnapped victims by bandits in Bagatown, Kaura, the Moda local government area of Zamfara state, describing it as unspeakable crime. The victims were murdered on Sunday despite the payment of 50 million naira ransom. The attackers had earlier abducted over 50 residents from the community and later released 17 hostages, mostly women, after receiving the ransom. Speaking during the launch of the state expansion program for the Anti-Kidnap Fusion Cell, an initiative of the National Counter-Terrorism Center in collaboration with the United Kingdom government, the UK Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria, Gil Lever, extended her condolences to the people of Zamfara state. Lever said, "I want to express my condolences to the people of Zamfara state. That horrible kidnap where even when ransom was paid, only a few people were released and the others were murdered." On Wednesday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the appointment of the Deputy Controller General Olumode Samuel Adeyemi as the new substantive Controller General of the Federal Fire Service effective 14th August 2025. Secretary to the Civil Defense Correctional Fire and Immigration Services Board, CDCFIB, A.M. Jibril, Major General retired, conveyed the appointment in a statement on Wednesday in Abuja. He noted that the appointment follows the imminent retirement of the current Controller General, Engineer Abdul Ganiyu Jaji Olola, on 14th August 2025 upon attaining the age of 60. Adeyemi brings a wealth of experience to his new role, having transferred his service from the FCT Fire Service to the Federal Fire Service and grown to the rank of Deputy Controller General of Fire in the Human Resource Directorate of the service headquarters. In the course of his career, the officer has attained and passed all mandatory in-service training, command courses, as well as other courses within and outside the country. He has served in various capacities and is equally a member fellow of the following professional associations, including the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, Institute of Corporate Administration of Nigeria, Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria, and Chartered Institute of Treasury Management of Nigeria. Also on Wednesday, authorities of the Federal College of Agriculture, Akure FECA, have raised serious concerns over increasing incidents of land encroachment on the institution's legally acquired property by suspected land grabbers. Chairman of the governing board, Jarrett Tinebe, has vowed to resist what he described as deliberate attempts to undermine the objectives for which the college was established, after he was conducted round the college's facilities and later held a strategic meeting with the management and staff of the institution. The chairman further assured that the welfare of staff will be prioritized under his leadership. On Thursday, the presidency announces the tenure of the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Mr. Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, which is due to expire on August 31st, 2025, has been extended by 1 year. Bayo Onanaga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, in a statement said the extension, approved by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will enable Mr. Adeniyi to consolidate ongoing reforms and complete critical initiatives of this administration, including the modernization of the Nigeria Customs Service, the implementation of the National Single Window Project, and the execution of Nigeria's obligations under the African Continental Free Trade Area Protocol. Onanaga said President Tinubu recognizes Mr. Adeyemi's steadfast leadership and commitment to service. He said the president is confident that this extension will further strengthen the Nigeria Customs Service in achieving its strategic mandate of trade facilitation, revenue generation, and border security. Still on Thursday, a fresh leadership crisis has erupted in the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as the party's deputy national chairman, Honorable Nafiu Bala, has declared himself as the interim national chairman. Addressing journalists in Abuja, Honorable Bala accused certain party leaders of engaging in what he described as political hooliganism and a show of shame that has plunged the party into a state of crisis and uncertainty. According to Bala, the actions of some senior members who he claimed have handed over the party structures to political outsiders are unconstitutional and an affront to the laid down rules of the party. He alleged that a group of political strangers had been installed in strategic positions, replacing duly elected officials in what he called a shoddily rehearsed political melodrama. He further vowed to challenge the gross acts of impunity in court if the alleged constitutional violations persist, insisting that the leadership transition processes in the party must follow the guidelines enshrined in the ADC constitution. Also on Thursday, the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives Federal Health Institution sector has commenced a 7-day warning strike, defying last-minute appeals by the federal government to shelve the action. The strike, which began Wednesday, follows the expiration of 15-day ultimatum issued on July 14, 2025. The union is demanding improved welfare, fair allowances, and better working conditions for nurses serving in federal health institutions nationwide. Speaking on the development, the national chairman of NANNMFHI, Olajide Morakinyo, blamed the federal government for failing to engage the union in meaningful dialogue during the ultimatum period, leaving them with no option but to strike. On Friday, the federal government has launched an intensive national campaign to end the learning crisis at the basic level of education in the country. The program, the national launch of End Learning Poverty for All in Africa, LPAF, is being supported by the African Union AU and United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF to address the challenge of children who are in schools and are not learning. According to a report by UNICEF, Nigeria faces a severe learning crisis with over 70% of children lacking foundational literacy and numeracy skills. The estimated number of children in schools who are unable to read and comprehend a simple sentence by the age of 10. Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Ahmad, in her keynote address at the event, said the statistics were a wake-up call in Nigeria, as in many parts of the continent, where children are in classrooms but not necessarily learning. Lastly, on Friday, the federal government has called on the nation's health workers and their leadership to toe the path of genuine negotiations towards resolving all issues that can obstruct the peace being enjoyed in the sector. Minister of Health and Social Welfare Professor Ali Pate gave the admonition while briefing the press in company of other ministers on the outcome of the Federal Executive Council meeting, which was presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The minister said Mr. President has identified the health workers as being critical to the ongoing renewed hope drive in the entire healthcare value chain, and all efforts must be put in place to ensure lasting peace through negotiations. In the power sector, the Federal Executive Council approved the total energizing of some federal universities and health institutions. The beneficiaries of the renewable electrification include University of Lagos, University of Nigeria Nsukka, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife, University of Ibadan, and the University College Hospital in Ibadan. And that's all we have for you on Tracking the Week.